Hello everyone. So today we are going to touch some other concepts of Hazelcast. Basically in this whole tutorial, my main focus is to mainly touch the implementation part of Hazelcast because the theoretical concepts are present on various websites, even on Hazelcast official website, but the implementation part is not very much available. So in this tutorial I'll be covering the implementation part. So today I will talk about the declarative configuration of the data structure that are going to be used in Hazelcast. There are basically two types of configuration that we can provide to configure our data structures that we are going to use. That data structure could be map, queue, list, etc. So there are two ways to give our own configuration. The first one is declarative way and the second one is programmatic way. So in case of declarative way, we just give the configuration in one XML file. That XML file is called hazelcast.xml file. And in case of programmatic way, you just have to give the you just have to code the configuration in your application file itself, wherever you are coding your application. So today I'm going to show you the declarative configuration. So let's start. First I'll create one class file. In this example I'm just going to show how we can configure our data structure declaratively. So I'm just going to create one Hazelcast instance first. Then I'm going to create one map and I'm going to put some value in map. I'm also going to cover a difference between put method and set method in this tutorial. So let me just code something, then I'll explain. So we're just creating a map and we are putting some values and then we are printing. So our main concern with this example is the declarative configuration. So right now I've created a map and now I'll be giving some configurations declaratively. But before going to that, I'll just explain what is the difference between put and set. So this set method is basically being provided in case of Hazelcast IMAP itself. The difference between put and set method is that put method basically returns some value which is previously associated to that key. Okay, put method returns the string value which was previously associated with that key, and in case if no value has been associated with the key, in that case it will return null. But set method doesn't return any value. If you see the signature of these methods, so as you can see, put method has string as return type, but if you see the signature of this set method, then it has void as a return type. So that is the main difference between put and set method. And normally whenever we are using hash map in our program, whenever we are putting some values in a map, so in most of the cases we don't want to get the previous value associated with the key, we just want to put the values. In that case, the performance of your application would be better if you use set in place of put while developing your application using Hazelcast. If you don't want the previous value, then why to use put? You can use set method. So that's the difference. Now let's move on to the configuration. So for doing the declarative configuration, we'll have to create one hazelcast.xml, and you can find the default hazelcast.xml in this jar file. If you expand this jar file and go scroll to the bottom, you will find one default XML file. You just open this file, copy the content and go to the top. In this project I'll create one file. I'll name this file as Hazelcast, and in this hazelcast.xml I'll paste the content. So this is our configuration file. In this configuration file, these are all the configurations. This Hazelcast default.xml is a default configuration file, and this is the configuration file that we have just created. So when you run your application, Hazelcast will first read all the configuration. Hazelcast will first find if this file exists or not. If it doesn't exist, then Hazelcast will use this default configuration file. But if it exists, in that case Hazelcast will read all the configurations from this file. So there are various configuration tags like management center. If you want to use management center with your application, you can just enable it. Enabled equals to true, and you can just put the host IP and port in this URL. Similarly, there are other tags, configuration tags, but right now I'll just show you the configuration of map. We'll cover other configuration tags later in some other videos. So this is our map configuration. We can just change these configurations, these default configuration. Right now I'm going to change these default configuration itself. So here you can see that the name of map is default. So the default means this configuration would be applicable to all the maps. I mean, the name of the map could be anything, but the same configuration would be available for all the maps. But in case if you want specific configuration for a specific map, in that case you can just give the name of your map in here in the attribute field. For example, right now I have created a map with name my map. So in here I can, in place of default, I can write my map, and that configuration would only be applicable for my map. But right now I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to change some configuration, like there is backup count. So for the my map right now the backup count is 1. I can just put it to 2, and I can also increase the async backup count to 1, and I'll save the file. So this is the only configuration that I've changed right now, and now I'll just run the program. So the program is working fine. This is how we declaratively configure our data structure in Hazelcast. I hope you all are clear with the example. Similarly, there are other configuration tag, like if you see the configuration tag of map, then there are time to live seconds, then there are max idle time, eviction policy. Right now no eviction policy has been there, so you can just configure it here itself, and this configuration will be applicable. Now one more thing I would like to touch is this default XML, Hazelcast default.xml file. This is a read-only file, so if you want to change the configuration here only, in that case you won't be able to do. That's why we have created our new XML file, hazelcast.xml, and we have given our own configuration in this file. Also the name has to be this hazelcast.xml. So I hope you all are clear with how we declaratively configure our data structure in case of Hazelcast. Right now I've just given an example of map. Similarly you can configure your other data structure, like see there is a queue tag also, and these are all the configuration of queue: backup count, max size, async backup. So similarly you can just tweak around the configuration of queue and other data structure as well, and you can run your application, and that application would have that configuration itself. So this is all for this video. I'll be covering the other topics like programmatically configuring and other topics of Hazelcast later in my other videos. Let me know if you need any specific implementation details, and I'll try to help you with that. That's all for this video. Thank you all.